Hello, happy reading week. Glad you're still with me. This is a lot this week. This week and next week are going to be a lot of work, but I want you to know that you're doing fine. We're just going to keep going through this step by step, and hopefully you're getting something out of the class. So just a reminder that this is Dr. Bowman's class. I am helping this semester, and when helping means I don't want to change the integrity of the class. So if she is going to be doing all this work to get ready for this class, and it's pretty spectacular how she's got the whole thing set up, I'm here to facilitate and answer questions and help the best I can. So that's why you're going to see most of the videos, because she's got great content. Why reinvent the wheel? And if I was to do it, I'd be doing the exact same thing she'd be doing anyway. So please know that this is to keep the integrity of the class. So those who are taking the class prior to this are getting the same information to those who are going to be taking this next year or even next semester. So just throwing that out there. But I haven't jumped in with a video lately, so I thought maybe you needed to see who's actually reading all your stuff. And currently right now, it is... my email at MCC is down, so I've been trying to text message people, Zoom people, so please know that I will get back to you as soon as I can. If you're getting to me through D2 Learn or the MSUB website, that I can probably get to a little bit quicker. Okay, so just giving you some overviews of this week. This week we are learning to read and reading to learn, which I think is pretty fantastic. So this first, I know there's a lot to do. Don't freak out. I know there's a lot to do, but this is something that you can totally handle. This right here, the preparing for the reading interview paper assignment, that assignment is going to be due next week. It's going to be due on the 17th of October, but I would highly suggest getting it moving now. So the reason being is that I would like to have the peer review paper done by the 12th. And I'm not going to be like a stickler for that hard and fast date because we all know how things go. I mean, we're busy, you're busy, the students are busy. So if it doesn't happen by the 12th, that's okay. But that peer review is going to be happening prior to the 17th of October. So right here where it's talking about discussion board, there's 3 different times that I'm going to see a discussion board later on in the loop. And this isn't actually a discussion right here. There's going to be 3 times that you're going to see something throughout the week. It's going to be the same discussion board, but it's going to be different topics, and I'll scroll through that and explain what I'm talking about. So the first thing you should be doing is reading about our paper that's going to be due next week. Take the quick survey. Hopefully you find that's interesting. You're going to, if you choose to, print out the presentation from the PowerPoint, and then this is the video that Dr. Bowman does, and then she has 2 other videos of books that are bottom to top and top to bottom reading strategies. Another video by Dr. Bowman, a running record, and this one's only a couple minutes long, but it's super interesting, so please take time to watch that. And then we're going to be talking about scaffolding that beginning reader, and this is the first part of that discussion right here. So we are going to be doing just the very first discussion on this right here, and it's going to be that first question at the beginning of the week. After reading the reading interview assignment and rubric, explain to each other what you have to do in writing this paper. So like, where are you going to start? Like, how are you going to be doing this? Like, who are you going to be interviewing? What are you going to be thinking about? And the content of this is not as important as the thought process that's going through it. So if you can't have all the answers to the questions right now, that's totally fine. What we're going to be doing is we're just going to step by step through and like kind of talking through that assignment, so when the time comes to do it, it's not going to be quite so foreign. So that's going to be our first discussion. And then we're going to have active reading. And active reading is a little bit of something that you're going to see towards the end of the semester as well. It's going to be in our student-led discussions. Some of you had asked me about like, how do I turn this in? It does say scan because that seems to be the easiest, but if you want to take a picture of it with your phone, that's totally fine, and upload that, that's completely fine. What really I'm looking for is, are you actively reading the text that we're putting out for the week? So for instance, like this is the rubric that we're going to be using, so you're going to highlight and underline the keywords and write comments in the pages, and there should be an example of right up here of what an active reading page looks like, and that should kind of give you an idea what we're talking about. Because so often when we get to literature that's really thick and heavy in content, what happens is we start reading it and our mind just is like, we just don't really have a connection to it because it's hard, it's work. So when we talk about active reading, we're going to be actively present when we're reading and asking questions, and that writing in the margins and those type of things, and asking questions about your reading as well. The highlighter part. So I've had students in the past that highlight everything. Like they turn in that paper and that whole thing is just bright yellow because everything they feel is important, which might not be the best way to do this, because the highlighting really is for when you go back and read that again, you can only focus on the things that are the most important of that topic. So sometimes highlighting everything isn't the best choice, but sometimes once we get through reading it and then go back through and look at it, then we can understand what is the most important thing to highlight and then use your highlighter to do that. So highlighting is a great tool. They're fun. Markers are fun, but just make sure we're using it in a reasonable fashion as far as like making sure we have the topics covered. So yeah, scanning it, pictures, whatever you want to do to turn that in, that's totally fine. I would say if you want to, if it's possible to get at least 3 or 4 pages of the active reading done of those texts, that would be great. Some of those are pretty lengthy, so you don't have to do the entire thing, but I'm saying just probably 3 to 4 pages of a text that we picked. So pick one of the 3 that you have up there and go from there. Okay, then we have another PowerPoint presentation that you can print out if you choose to. Then we have the literacy learning part, like reading to learn. That's kind of when we switch to the 3rd grade strategies. And then there's another survey. And then here's that second part of the discussion. So the discussion this time is going to be throughout the week, use this discussion as a place to help each other come up with additional questions you might ask depending on the age and the reading capabilities of K-12 children you're interviewing. This is on the middle part of the week because we have to think about what age group are you interviewing. If you are interviewing a student from pre-K to kindergarten, you are really looking at, do they know top-down, bottoms-up reading strategies? Are we talking about students who are just learning how to read? Or are we talking about that 3rd grade and up where we're going to be looking at reading to learn information, so that comprehension is going to be in there. There's a whole different set of skills that we need to learn or need to be teaching and scaffolding that comprehension. So that's why we have that in the middle of the week. After you've read about the learning to read and then reading to learn, that's where we're going to ask our question, okay, so what do you think? What are some questions that you're going to be asking depending on your age group? And then there's another video, and this last one here is the exit pass. So the last discussion here is you're going to share, let's move this out of the way, you're going to share with the group the age and the grade level of the student you plan to interview, and whether that means you're going to be asking questions that focus on strategies or a combination of strategies from reading to learn and learning to read. So that's kind of the basis of that discussion. So it looks a little goofy. It's been something that we haven't done before, so just kind of roll with the punches and see what happens. So because there are 3 different threads, I really do expect us to have an ongoing conversation throughout the week of how things are going with this interview assignment next week. So next week is when it's due. It's due October 17th. There will be like a assignment ahead of that where you're going to be having a peer review your paper, and that you can also take a picture of or you can scan to me. I have it set as the October 12th, but that's not hard and fast, like I said. So if you don't have that done by the 12th and you have it done the 13th or 14th, that's totally fine. I understand how schedules are. But if we could have some type of pre-reading peer review of your paper prior to when you're turning it in to me for the final, that's what we're kind of looking for. Okay, so that's that. The next thing I want to share with you is our topics. So I know this was my fault. What happened is that I have 2 sections of this class. I have an 800 section and an 801 section. And so what happened is that link got put into both sections. So some of you signed up for the same thing on 2 different places, and some of you signed up for one thing thinking it was the other. So what I did is I went through, this will be posted in the announcements as well. So what I did, this is the 800 section, and if you're not familiar, if you're on the 800 section or not, go back up and look at your D2L, and it should say, EDU 221, and then it'll have like a number, either 800 or 801 behind that. So those of you who are in section 800, this is where we put you. If you are in bold, that means that I chose that topic for you. So you can definitely come talk to me and see if that would be something you want to change or continue with. If you put a leader behind your name, then you are a leader for that group. So we've got a leader here for topic 5, and then we also have a leader here for topic 4 in section 801. If you are choosing to be a leader in your section, just go ahead and email me and I'll put it in there with your with the name leader. So those of you who are in bold, those are the ones that you were assigned by me because I didn't hear from you. But like I said, it was kind of my fault because I was the one that put the link in both classes instead of just one class or the other. So if by chance I put you in some place you are not happy with, just email me and we can definitely work this out. We're going to probably be starting meeting with our groups the week after our reading interview paper is due. So it's going to be starting the week of the 17th of October, and then we're going to start working with these groups. So we really do have some wiggle room in that area. So please don't feel like if I put you in a group that you are not happy with, just say something. We'll figure it out. It's not the end of the world, for sure. Okay, so if anybody has any questions about this week's assignments, it is lengthy. It is quite a bit. I understand there's a lot to do, but please know that you're doing great. Just hang in there. If some things are a little bit more difficult this week, it's because it's a lot. I understand. Next week you will have the quiz and the paper due, and there will be a quick information on writing as well. But there will be no reading assignments for next week. Okay, well, I hope that covered it. It was good to see you all. Please know that I will email you back as soon as I get my email up and running again. If not, email me through D2L, and we will go from there. Okay, thanks.